Hey, what's going on, everybody? It is your boy Angel R Talk.
The city of New York, Boricua from the Bronx.
Lately, I've been talking to a lot of politicians, and it is an election season, so it makes sense. So I'm just gonna cut right to it because I know you have had a very long day, and probably want to eat, rest, and do all the things that people do at the end of the long day. So please introduce yourself, tell us who you are, tell us where you're running, and we'll rock and roll.
So I'm Elizabeth Hernandez. I am running for United States House of Representatives in Texas 8th District. My opponent is Kevin Brady, who has been in office for 24 years.
An incumbent, a Republican in Texas.
Yes.
In Texas. So how do you think that works out? Now you're coming in as a Democrat, right? In Texas, and you're running against it, because I looked him up. I had never heard, well, I might have heard his name at some point or another, but I didn't know much about him. So I looked him up. 23 years, I think, right? That's what you said? 23, 97, I believe it was. The guy's been in office, and he's a Republican, and this is Texas. So how do you, and it can be done because AOC did it in New York, but in that situation, it was Democrat against Democrat. She beat an incumbent. So it can be done, but this is, I feel like Texas is more conservative, right? For the most part.
It is, but Texas is also changing. And, you know, Texas has been red for a long time, a lot due to the gerrymandering. So, you know, that's one reason it's very important in the Texas House that we win the House back. Because obviously with this being a census year, the new boundaries are going to be set, and so the Democrats need to get control of that. Now, I will say, I believe, you know, Montgomery County is the largest county in my district. There's actually 9 counties total. Walker County is the second largest, which is up in Huntsville area. And there's a lot of other smaller, and then we have a portion of North Harris County as well. But Montgomery County is changing. Can you hear my kids yelling?
That's why I'm giggling. It's funny because we were just talking about that. It's funny. It just makes me
barge
giggle.
in here. My door is locked, but she'll be knocking. Let me in. So Montgomery County is changing. I would say it's probably more purple now than it is red. And there's also a lot of voters that have been non-voters.
What's purple? Sorry, I don't know what that.
It's your red and blue. Red and blue makes purple.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay,
So our Montgomery County chair, she actually is running a podcast, I believe, with somebody from the Republican Party called Purple Politics. And they discuss politics in Montgomery County. And I don't know if you've looked at my logo for the campaign. You know, this is kind of a silly thing, but at the same time not. When I was trying to decide what I wanted our logo to look like, not only is purple one of my favorite colors, I wanted it to be the merging of red and blue. So if you look at the logo, one side is blue and one side's red, and it blends into purple.
That's clever.
For a few reasons. One, Montgomery County is changing. It's probably more purple than it is red. Number 2, you know, I believe we need to work more together and not so, you know, I'm on the left and you're on the right and neither one of us are willing to compromise. We don't get anything done when we don't compromise.
Nope.
Unfortunately, there has to be compromise. So that was the other piece. Oh, there's my cats making down.
My wife is in the kitchen. This is going to be a podcast of reality, and so it's okay, you know.
Chaos. Yeah. So I wanted, you know, I firmly believe we need more working together. And obviously with the district itself being somewhat purple, you know, I need to bring that representation. And then number 3 being that I love purple, and I actually have purple in my hair. I don't know if you can see it, but I have had purple and blue actually in my hair for.
You like Prince then? Years. I'm gonna say.
Yeah, I do like Prince.
You know, you should try to work out the permission so you can use some of his music
That'd be awesome.
You save that for the presidential bid, and then you.
Yeah. You sound like my campaign manager. So yeah, it's purple and it is changing. And I think it's important in this district to get with a lot of the Hispanic voters, the young voters, the people that have not been voting. I firmly believe that the Democrats have the numbers to win. It's just about getting them out to vote. And
Right.
from history, Kevin Brady has a lot of times gone unopposed. No candidate has run against him on the Democratic ticket. And so a lot of times it would not surprise me if you ask somebody off of the street, do you know Elizabeth Hernandez, or do you know who Kevin Brady's opponent is? Did you even know he has an opponent? And people will probably say no, because they're not used to him having opposition. And I, of course, don't believe any candidate should run unopposed.
No, of course not. They should all have somebody, even within their own ranks. I mean, I don't know the guy. I really don't know anything about him. But the little bit of reading that I read it seems as though he would basically be in, stand file Republican, not kind of, like there's some of them. I've actually spoken to a few Republicans. In fact, for a period of my life, I was in the Republican Party myself. So I've seen that within the party itself, there are extremes. I guess he falls right in line with the rank and file. Like that's what I gathered from my, my quick reading on him.
Yeah.
So your background is accounting, which is a good thing. I mean, to have a numbers. Have you ever done any politics at all, or you just kind of went straight for the? You went straight for the jugular on it.
Go big or go home. So my campaign manager has been trying to convince me to run for a while, actually. And I've worked in accounting for almost 20 years. I actually just graduated from Sam Houston State University with my accounting degree, because I've been working full-time and going to school part-time at night for the last 19 years and raising my kids. Also, I've got 3 kids, but I wasn't
guinea pigs
school.
and
all my animals. 2 cats, 2 dogs, 4 guinea pigs. And so I was like, I can't run for Congress. I'm still finishing my degree. I've got to focus on that. And I was scheduled to graduate this summer. And I ended up having a primary opponent. I did not know I was going to have a primary opponent. I filed to run. So I filed to run thinking I was just going to be the Democratic candidate running against Brady. And then the day we filed, which was December the 9th, if I'm not mistaken, I found out that I had a primary opponent. And we literally didn't have anything ready. Like, our website wasn't up. I mean, my social medias weren't ready. I was not anticipating. And so we very quickly had to get our website up, because people were going to start looking at, like, who is this person, And my primary opponent was San Jacinto County chair. Hold on one second.
Yeah, check up on the little ones.
Gosh, I lost my train of thought. What was I saying?
You were talking about how you expected to be unopposed in the primary, and somebody crept in, and you had to get everything ready.
She had filed maybe at the same time or right before, but we found out that day that she was running, and it was like, okay, we've got to scramble really fast. And it was hard because I was still in school. So that was December. I was wrapping up a semester, and then I had one more semester, and I always take 6 hours. And I had one class that I had to take this summer, which was my final class that I took, and I graduated on August the 1st. But
congratulations on that.
Thank you.
A long journey. Congratulations.
I got to have a virtual ceremony.
Yeah, I know. You put in so much work and effort, and then they rob you from your that one moment of walking with the aisle and looking at the kids like, I did it,
Yes, and I really wanted to do it for my kids because, they sacrificed a lot too. Mom was at school 2 nights a week for 3 or 4 hours. And then when I was here, I was doing homework and studying for exams. And so, but the good thing is the school has said that they're hoping to have an in-person ceremony in December, possibly depending on, the coronavirus situation, obviously. And I completely understand. I mean, I was obviously sad, but at the same time,
they should do all that in the future for you guys, regardless.
Yeah. I think they will.
Everybody that has not had their, because that's part of what your whole experience is. It's delayed. That's fine. We'll walk another time, but they should certainly, give you that. It's well deserved. So
absolutely. So I had not been in politics before. I think I started telling you my campaign manager had been trying to convince me, and knowing that I was going to be graduating.
How did that come about though? Like, how do you go from I'm an accountant, I work at school, and somebody saying, hey, you know what?
My fiance is an attorney. He practices employment law. He's been a civil rights lawyer for almost 20 years. And so we live together. My campaign manager, it's not a secret. I think most people here know that we're engaged. So we've been living together for 5 years, and he's been a lawyer for a long time. We follow politics. I haven't been like politically active in the party locally, but that wasn't because I didn't want to. That was because I was going to school and working and kids. Right. And when I graduated school, I was like, man, what am I going to do now? Or I was thinking, what am I going to do? Because I have all this free time, and well, I'm running a campaign now, which that is keeping me very busy. But he, like I said, he had been telling me for a while, you would be a great candidate. You have great background, Congress. So one of the, I guess, things that pulled me in was fall of 17, I was taking income tax accounting at Sam Houston. And income tax is not a fun class, let me tell you. It's even less fun when you're having to learn, hey, this is the tax code for 2017. Oh, guess what? In 2018, it's changing because Kevin Brady, who authored Tax Cuts and Job Act, which was the tax cuts for the wealthy that were implemented in 2018, we had to learn both, that this is what it is right now and this is what it's going to be. So, I saw on paper, academically, what was going on with the taxes. That did not make me very happy. I've not been a fan of Brady since I've known him or known of him. And so with, Trump being in office, everything that's going on, it was like, you know what? It's a presidential year. I think this is just the year for the Democrats. It is. I mean, if we have a chance of turning Texas blue, this is the year. Yes, baby.
Hi.
This is Lila.
Hello.
This is my youngest. She's 5, and she just started kindergarten this year.
Oh, okay. Very cool. Long journey ahead of you on that one.
This is our junior campaign manager too.
Okay, cool. Well, she's getting a way head start on the politics.
Oh, Nassim is grooming her for presidency, let me tell you.
You know what? We're talking about that now, and 20 years from now, we could be looking back at this video and being like, this was in the works.
Lila, tell Angel about Kevin Brady. What do you know about Kevin Brady?
Trying to take away our public education and money.
Did you understand?
I did. That's kind of important, right? I think that's important. You're just starting that world too, and trying to take it away from you. That's kind of
yes.
No, well, maybe if that person right there next to you has something to say, it might be different, right? Yeah. You excited? You excited about the whole thing? You're excited about mommy going into politics and maybe getting that Brady guy out? She's nodding.
Yes, we're gonna kick him out. All right, go so I can finish the interview, okay?
Mom.
What?
Can you tell me that I want to go to the park with him after he gets back?
Yes, I will tell him.
Okay.
Okay.
Cute kid.
Yeah, I was kind of.
You mind if I keep that?
Yeah. No.
Okay. I'll keep it in there.
She's I was talking to one of my friends the other day about her starting school this year, and I'm like, one of the good things about her starting school is she doesn't know like that wearing masks and only sitting with 3 friends at lunch, and she doesn't realize that's not normal, because it's her first year in public
Wow.
school, and so to
Going
her,
into that world, it's a normality to them. Wow.
yeah,
Yeah.
at least for her, not for my older 2, but
Well,
so
that's
yeah,
helpful.
it's
Yeah,
really
it's
fun.
helpful. It'll help a little bit with coping, you know.
Yes,
Just,
exactly.
you know.
Yeah, and I was really concerned about my son. He's 11. He's got a disability. I kind of mentioned that earlier. He has something called Rubinstein-Tabby syndrome. It's a very rare genetic syndrome, and he's very finicky, like with his clothes, and he doesn't like wearing hats, and noises bother him, and he's actually got an autism diagnosis, but it's really RTS, and it it looks like autism, it appears like it's autism, but so I wasn't sure how he was going to do with the whole mask wearing, and he's done great. I've been really happy and pleased with how he's handled it, because he needs to be in school. He's in special education. He needs that one-on-one help. It was very difficult doing homeschool with him when they were doing it from online. So yeah, all my kids are back in in-person school. They're wearing masks and they're doing all the safe things. Fortunately, we live in a good district where they have the means to provide masks and make sure everything gets sanitized every day and everybody washes their hands, and they're really diligent about that. I don't think we really should be back in school nationwide.
Yeah, it's been a big thing in New York. It's been a big issue for a lot of people. I I don't know how I feel about the whole, because there are going to be some people that believe that this is all a hoax, right? And there's those, kind of people, and I don't think that's the case, because I've seen people actually die from this thing, lost friends, and my mom's lost friends, and and then there's the ones who are overly paranoid. So it's like I don't know. I wear a mask because it's a societal standard right now. Like, I have to wear a mask, wear the mask, and I think I'm safe. I go to the gym. Me and my son have been going to the gym, and I wear the mask there and stuff. But every time I go to the gym, I go with the mindset of, I am taking probably an unnecessary risk right now. Like, I am perfectly aware that being in that environment exposes me at a higher risk level. And I just kind of play the odds there. I don't, they are cleaning. They shut it down every 90 minutes. They shut down the gym for half an hour to sanitize. Wow. So you got to book a 90-minute window, and then you're out. They kick you out, and they clean, and then they bring in the next batch. And this is how they control the group and everything.
Well, good for them.
And you have to wear a mask, and but even with that, I don't walk around with I don't have a false sense of security, like we're good. I'm always aware of the fact that I feel like it's the roll of a die. I don't, we don't know really with this COVID thing how, my son was in a home where everyone had it, and he doesn't even have antibodies. He didn't get anything. I haven't come in contact with it. I don't have the antibodies. I don't have the COVID. My mom and my sister, they had it, and they're fine. So it's very. I fear it more because of that, because I know people who've gotten it and just gone.
Too many unanswered questions.
Yeah, too many unknowns. Now, is it airborne? Is it not? I don't know. Somebody says yes, somebody says no.
My fear is more probably for my parents. My dad is 73, and so he's not like young, and then my mom is 62, and she's got diabetes. So I just worry about, obviously I'm out and about as well. I mean, I always wear a mask. I always make sure I
Right.
sanitize my hands, but
But
you know, I get worried when I'm going to see them, you know, and I try to, even if like they come over, I still kind of stay a distance. I try not to hug them. So it's the seniors I'm worried about, and especially like the high risk seniors, because I feel like right now there's so much, you know, it's a hoax. You know, I can't breathe. Why do I have to wear this mask? Wear the mask. And it's just here, especially in Montgomery County, it's our county judge. We have obviously the mask order here in Texas, but he will not enforce it. The sheriff's office came out with a statement basically saying they're not doing anything about it. The stores
because those are the extremes right there. You know,
yes.
especially Texas. Texas is one of those places. You know, there's places in Texas where I felt at home. When I was in the military, I spent some time in Texas, and there were places where even when I was in uniform, people were very racist to me. You know,
Wow.
and said racist things even while I was serving the nation in uniform. And then there were places where I felt like I was, you know, I was with my homies. You know, so it's like a very, you know, I think historically it's a place I wouldn't go to. Nowadays, it feels like it's more, you know, mingled.
Okay, don't go out there with him out there. He's a big puppy and he doesn't know better. Okay.
I want to play with him.
You need to wait for me or Nassim to go outside. Okay. Are you okay? Did you scratch yourself?
You know.
Yeah. So we adopted a puppy. He was 5 months old when we got him, half boxer, half Rottweiler, from the animal shelter. So this is one of our COVID pets. And let me tell you, the guinea pigs were COVID guinea pigs too.
Wow.
First, my 15-year-old daughter, she's like, she watches these TikToks or maybe it's Instagram, I don't know, and she saw somebody with guinea pigs and she fell in love with the guinea pigs and she's like, I want to get a guinea pig. I'm bored. I need something to do. And we're like, okay, we'll get you a guinea pig. So she goes and she picks a guinea pig and Lila picks a guinea pig. So they come home with 2 guinea pigs. And when I was growing up, I had hamsters. I loved hamsters.
Yes.
And
Hamster. My hamster Hamster, and the boy hamster was named Hamster. Very, very creative. I was very inventive with the names.
We had a hamster a while back and the hamster passed. But so anyway, then I fell in love with guinea pigs and I was like, I want my own guinea pig. So I go buy a guinea pig and come home with 2 more guinea pigs.
Oh my God. I was going to say, I thought you said you had 4 guinea pigs.
That's how we love them. But we all play with them. So like she'll have one, I'll have one, my other daughter have one.
Oh my God.
Nassim likes them. So they're fun. But we adopted this dog and he's now 8 months and he's big. I mean, he's a puppy basically, you know, and I was looking at some pictures the other day of when we adopted him. I didn't even realize how much he's grown, but he knocked her over. You know, he doesn't.
Roddy and Boxer, yeah, that's going to be that's going to be you know, well, you will have a safe household.
He's a good dog. He really is a good dog. He's actually in training too. So I'm taking him once a week for some training and he's very lovable, loves to lick. So yeah, don't go outside with him, okay? Until somebody's out there. Okay? Go see what Kenzie's doing. Okay? Oh, I feel so bad. Yeah, he will bulldoze you. Like he kind of pushed me over, so
well, my dog tries, but she only weighs 5 pounds, so you know, but she does the stuff that if she were big, well, the way she plays would be not good because she, you know, she plays and she's like, and to me it's cute. It's like, oh, look at those cute little teeth. But if she were to be a big, powerful dog and play like that, you know, yeah, it would, you know, I mean, she's got me a couple times, but like I said, she's 5 pounds, so you know, you can't really hurt me.
Oh, that's good. Yeah, we have a Yorkie too, so we're on 2 extremes. Yorkie and Boxer.
That sounds right. That's how a lot of people do it. It shows the balance.
And my Yorkie, she's almost 10, and so she's like, leave me alone. Like she's starting to walk around really slow and play
up there.
Our big dog, and he wants to play and run, and she's like, leave me alone.
She probably runs things, and the big dog is the, she's the alpha. The Yorkie would be the alpha.
Cinnamon, come here. Oh, Cinnamon's right here. I'll show you. This is our
Ah, so cute. This
Cinnamon.
cute doggy.
Anyway, back to politics. So yeah, I kind of just, if I had to say why I got into politics, I'm passionate about it. I care about it. I follow it. I care about obviously what's going to happen with my kids, with their future. Being that, I've got 3 children, and, Brady, in my opinion, does not care about people. He's beholden to his wealthy donors.
Right.
oil
Aren't
and
they all?
gas.
That was one of my notes. You mentioned special interest because I was reading
Yes.
through your stuff.
Okay. You can stay in here. Okay. Okay. Yeah, and
Yeah, so he's well, you mentioned special interests, and I've always felt that all politicians have special interests. People that, they are
Mhm.
basically control them. House cards type stuff.
Yeah.
I don't know how someone gets away from that,
Well, and I've had people ask me, what's going to stop you from, becoming that? And I mean, the only thing I don't know Brady, I don't know. I have been told that he changed. I've actually had people that I've met on the campaign trail tell
change
me
for bad or for
bad.
good. Okay.
I've had people tell me that they helped get him elected into office in '97, and they were like, I'm ashamed to admit this, but he was a different person, and he's not the same person he was back then, and I think 24 years or 23 and a half will probably do that to you.
Yeah.
I'm not completely opposed to term limits. I mean, I think if we had some term limits, it could probably do away with that. I know Brady's not from Texas. I don't know what his background is. You may have looked it up, so you could probably tell me, but I have been in those shoes of the people. And I think we're at a point, I mean, the whole point of representatives is to represent the people in your district. And I don't know how you can really represent those people without understanding some issues, just a few from my personal experience. So I mentioned that my son had a disability. So I've, had to deal with that, making sure your kids get the services that they need in school and the testing they need in school. My oldest daughter also has dyslexia. And so that was a little bit of a fight as well. So I've got both of them. One has a 504 and one's on ARD. It's hard. When I met with the genetics doctor for my son, she basically told me, your son's probably going to have to live for the rest of his life. You need to register for these, services, and you need to make sure you get, God, I can't think of the name, but where you get not custody, but legal something for him before he turns 18. I mean, there's a lot, and so I've dealt with that. I can understand families going through those types of issues. Obviously, I told you I just graduated from college, and it literally took me 19 years, not because I wanted to take that long. I mean, I would have loved to have, graduated high school and gone to college and lived on campus and, gone to college parties, but I couldn't, my parents didn't have money to send me to school. My parents had 5 children together. I'm the oldest of the 5 together. And one of my younger sisters has graduated from college, and I have another one that's working. She just graduated with her associate's degree. But I had to figure it out on my own. I'd not gotten a single penny from my parents for school. I had to get some loans. I used some of the money I worked with. And so it was hard. And then I had kids too. So, I took off years after having kids and stuff like that. But so I firmly believe, you can't get anywhere without an education. Like, I mean, I've worked in accounting for 20 years, And I pretty much career-wise bottomed out. Like I could do so much more, but because I didn't have the piece of paper to show that I graduated, you can't get a job somewhere. It's sad, but it's the reality of today. And, you know, so I'm an advocate for at a minimum 2 years of free college. You know, everybody deserves an equal opportunity. And then
it helps. People try to call these things handouts and stuff, but you know,
it's not about handouts, you know.
Well, you're investing in your people for the future, because they are the people who are going to be there. The thing is that politician who's in power now, he'll be out in 4 years. He doesn't care. He doesn't care about what, you know, but they don't realize that it's the people in general. You know, if it wasn't for welfare, Section 8, these programs that we have here in New York, I would have not been able to be where I'm at today. You know, I'd probably be in jail or in a street corner somewhere, you know, waiting for a future congresswoman to walk by so I could rob her. You know what I mean? Like, you know, this was the path. So
sometimes people just need help, you know. And you know, with my case, I say I got lucky, and I say that all the time because when I was 18 years old, or I guess I was probably 19 at that time, I met a man that I worked at this really terrible job. I probably made $8 an hour, like doing accounting office work. And the gentleman I worked for, he was so old school, he had paper ledgers. Like he didn't even use accounting.
Peachtree. What was the Peachtree? Is that the one?
He didn't even have Peachtree. No, it was literally a paper ledger. I used to calculate payroll checks by hand, like calculating the tax rates. And he had one of those checks embossers. Do you know what I'm talking about? Those old, like, anyway, he's so old school. So I had to work Saturdays and Sundays. And I used to go to this little store that had like a little sandwich kitchen in it. And I was up there one weekend getting lunch, and this man that was the owner of a company called WW Foundation Drilling saw me, and he had seen me like several times because we would pass each other at the store. And he was like, "What are you doing here on the weekend?" And I was like, "Oh, I have to work." And he's like, "You have to work on the weekends?" And I was like, "Yeah." And he's like, "Oh, you should come work for me. I'll give you a job, you know, and I'll train you." And I'm like, "Okay." So I went to work for him, taught me without me having any education, because I don't think I started going to school until I was working there. He gave me a chance. Like he saw something in me. I was at the right place, the right time, but not everybody has that opportunity. Not everybody meets the right person at the right time, you know, and I had to fight really hard. I mean, it's not easy going to school at night and working full time and raising children. And some people just don't have the, you know, will or the money or the means or whatever to do it. And it shouldn't be that hard. That's my bottom line. It should not be that hard for anybody.
There's support that goes into it. I think back on that, and I think I was talking to my son 2 days ago. So I tell him I'd be on the subway with my hand up like this, coming because I'd work full time and go to school at night as well, and I'd be on the subway and going like this. You know, like just shutting down from just sheer exhaustion. So it's hard, and I mean with children, it makes it, because then you need a support system. You know, how can you be in school? Well, somebody's got to be watching the kids. You know, somebody's got to help. I mean, even now with the COVID stuff is the same thing. A lot of people, how can you go to work? Well, who's going to watch the kids if there's no school? So there's all these, you know, it's tough. It's tough. Life is tough, and there's things that can be done to make it better for people. And I don't feel like a lot of politicians do. I like having AOC in there because she's breaking it down. She's telling us things that we would never know or see. She's in there like, you know, I'm in this legislative meeting and this guy here is doing this to prevent this from happening. And that's why you don't have such and such service. Or like, she is exposing these things that we would never know, you know, the realities of these things. So I love that, you know, because it's important to do that.
Did you watch Bringing Down the House?
No, I'm not.
It's like a documentary of AOC, and it has some other candidates also that were running at the time that she was. It's really good. Yeah,
I'll check it out.
She was definitely, it's on Netflix, I believe, and it's free to watch, obviously, if it's on Netflix. But she was an inspiration to me for sure, and I love her fire. I love, I totally agree with you on her. I like her a lot. I know there's so much, I feel like there's so many people that like don't like her and so much polarization around her. And I'm like, I don't get it. What is she doing that's so terrible? I don't know.
She's like way over here. So the people that are here and the people that are here, she's gonna have all those people against her. She's like like a Bernie Democrat, like way on that extreme side. So I don't know all of her politics, but like for instance, yourself, right? You mentioned that you believe people should be able to own guns, right? I saw Bernie say that you can't apply the same laws to a person who lives in New York and to a person who lives in Vermont, who's 2 hours away from the sheriff's office. You can't apply the same rules. So I can't imagine that me and AOC would probably disagree on that. And you yourself would also probably be at odds with her on that, because she's way on that extreme side, and maybe that's why, I dig what she's doing. I don't have a strong opinion either way. We need people like that.
Yeah.
We need people in there who, well, I guess I do have an opinion. We do need people in there that are gonna, come in and she took out Crowley, and I've been to quite a few of Crowley's town halls and stuff. As a matter of fact, his immigration, the manager, the woman who ran his entire immigration program is a friend of mine. I know her.
Oh.
So when Crowley was out, she was like, "I'm out the job, Angel." She had to go find another job. But that was AOC's doing, put my friend out of work. But it's for, I think, Crowley was a powerful Democrat. He was one of the heavyweights in there. I would assume Brady is also a heavyweight on the Republican side. I saw he's in some committees and stuff, so I think he's a heavyweight. So, I mean, you got your work cut out for you, I think, but
absolutely,
it's totally doable. I'd love to see it just because and I was talking with a guy a couple days ago who's running for council here in New York, and it was sticking it to the system. I love it when, just an average person says, you know what, I'm going to run, and they come and they stick it to the system. Like AOC was one of those individuals that just completely pulled the rug out from underneath them. And,
Yeah, and I would say we're not, and Nassim, if he was here, he would tell you we are not running your traditional campaign at all. I'm not going to give away all our secrets or anything, but my primary opponent, I don't know if you looked her up at all or looked at that race at all. She was what I would say the party's pick, because they knew her. She had been involved in politics. She was a county chair. From what I understand, she had been basically running for this race a year and a half ahead of me.
They must not like you then. You came out and you said, "Yeah."
Yeah, they some people actually asked me to drop out of the race, and I said no. And in true honesty, I did not expect to win the primary. Not because we didn't work hard, because even with me still being in school, we still worked hard. Every evening that I was free, I attended events. We did a lot of literature dropping or talking to students at SAM, because that was one thing that I had in my pocket is I was a student at Sam Houston. And so I was able to talk to students there. And when I talk to students there, of course, they get excited that somebody that's going to their school is running for Congress, and so they they weren't super supportive. And so we kind of just did our own thing, you know, and in true honesty, they probably don't have any idea what we actually did because they weren't involved in it. And I just didn't think we would win because of her, you know, being in and knowing
Right.
all the
She's
people.
the
And
pick. It's
yeah,
like De Blasio. De Blasio won in New York. We don't know who the hell he was, and he just happened to be the guy that the machine picked. And he, in this case, he won. He actually won. So are they on board with you now? Because I mean,
um,
it's you or the guy that's in there, right? That's kind of like
it's hard to say, honestly. I get so many mixed feedback from different people that I talk to. One minute I feel like, okay, we've got the support, and then one minute I don't feel like we do. So, but same as the primary, we're pushing forward. You know, I have other volunteers that aren't, you know, part of the party. Walker County has been totally supportive of our campaign. Um, they're fantastic. They love the campaign. They love me. Um, and you know, at the end of the day, the 200,000 votes that we need to get to win this seat is not the people involved in the local party. So, you know, with or without their support, we are pushing forward. Um, and you know, we won the primary with 60%. So it was very surprising to the opposing side. We've had a lot of people tell us, you know, the evening that the numbers were coming in. Actually, the county chair at the time, it's changed over, but he told us, he was like, I have to admit, I did not see this coming. You know, he was not expecting for us to win, and but I'm a great candidate. I don't think I'm not. I mean, regardless of my not having history of being in politics or
well,
running.
if that were a disqualifier, we wouldn't have this president, right? Your background. I mean, I was always under the impression that everybody who got into these positions kind of worked their way up the ranks, started in local and work, but it doesn't seem to be that way, at least not and I thought this was a new thing, but really, if you think about it, Reagan was an actor. What did he,
Oh yes,
what did he know?
Arnold
You know,
Schwarzenegger.
you know, so these are not people who had any particular, like they've been groomed for this thing. It's just a person that decided, I want to run. Jesse the Body Ventura was governor in Vermont. The guy's a wrestler. He was a wrestler. I mean, and of course, when we go back to Trump, what possible skill set? I mean, even in his business, right? His business it wasn't like he was great at it, you know. I mean, he has money, but I always felt that money was given to him, not self-made. So well, he made more money. Well, yeah, if you give me $1 million home, little small $1 million loan, I'm sure I could probably make some money off of it. So but.
And did he really make money? Because we haven't seen the tax returns.
Yeah, we don't even know. So I mean, all that is to say that I don't discount anyone based on that. And in fact, I like it. I like, I guess just your average working person who's actually lived in the real world, has real experience, has encountered difficulties, to be the person that's sitting there and watching these elites try to push these things and say, hold up, no, that's not good. I like that. If we keep pumping people like that in there, and y'all stay true to yourselves, because like you said, things can happen. We don't know what happens over time, but if y'all can stay, true to yourselves and stay in, we could change the country. We could change things for the better for everyone. So
Absolutely.
I would love to see you kick that guy out. I'd
know,
love to see that. That would just be awesome. Just an awesome story. It's another scenario where someone who's brand new came in and kicked out a established,
mhm.
well, we're going to call him what is it? Career politician. A career politician. Love to see it.
Me too. And let me tell you, if we don't succeed this time, we're going to be back in 2022.
There you go.
One thing about Brady is he's never had anybody make him have to work.
Right.
And he needs to work for that seat.
Right.
So
Right. He's probably sitting around right now thinking like,
oh yeah.
and that's when they sleep on you, and that's when you go in and you catch them with that surprise hook, and they're out for the count.
He's not worried about me one bit, I'm sure.
Yeah, they underestimate, and
he doesn't know Liz though, because let me tell you, I don't give up easily on anything, considering it took me 19 years to finish school. And we're talking about qualifications for running for office. I mean, I think the only thing you need is a will. Like, my favorite saying, I always say, my motto is, where there's a will, there's a way. There's no excuses. Where there's a will, there's a way. And if you care about people, which I do, you haven't, you can sympathize with problems. I do. I've been there. I've been in those shoes. And you're willing to learn, because do I know everything that, going to Congress entails? Do I understand the whole process and how all that works? No, I'm not been in that. I'm not a lawyer, but I can learn anything. And I can read some books. I can go to their trainings. I can.
Most of that will be OJT. You just get in there and do the job.
Exactly.
I mean, you think
we need more real people.
Yeah, I agree.
Like myself, that are willing to step up. And it's a huge commitment. I have so much respect for anybody that has ever run for office. Obviously, now that I'm in those shoes, I realize how much dedication, time, sacrifice it takes. And, from the bottom of my heart, thank you to anybody and everybody that has made that sacrifice, because we need more people, and we don't have true democracy without it, So.
I'd love to see somebody get in there and do an AOC to Mitch McConnell.
Oh yeah,
I would love that. I can't stand that guy. I would love somebody to come in, and it'll be like a nobody that has never done, like a me, just come in and be like, yeah, I'm going to challenge. And people just for fun, they're like, you know what? Let's get that new guy. And then, they bring me in, and I to be able to take out that dude. Oh,
yeah,
that would be the.
Can you get on that, Angel?
That would be I will go to Kentucky. I'm like, hey guys, I'm from New York, and we're gonna make this happen. I come up with some crazy ideas, win them over, and then get in office and do the complete opposite. It's like, I got you, suckers. Got Mitch McConnell out. I love to see that guy go. I can't. There's most politicians, even the ones I don't like, I feel like I could probably have a conversation and be cool with them. I would probably have a hard time with him. I don't know. I feel like he's always looking to just undermine democracy and just always just do what the opposite of what's the right thing.
With this latest with RBG,
Yeah, I mean, I understand they see an opportunity and they're going to take advantage of it no matter what, because they see that is a major opportunity to tilt for decades to come, and that worries me. That worries me.
It does me too, and I posted a tweet, and I think on Facebook, about that the other day, saying, if they go low, we are packing the courts. I mean, I think that's the only way.
I didn't understand that. I'm going to ask you to explain that to me, because I meant to ask you about that. I read that, and I didn't quite understand what you meant when you said packing the courts. I was a little confused. So what did that mean?
Packing the courts basically means adding more judges.
Gotcha.
To
Go to
out,
11 or right.
yeah,
Okay.
because
And we can do this? This is something that can be done like
yeah, it's my understanding that yes, we
because
can.
I did read about that. Okay, so that's what you meant. Okay, I
Nothing,
got
there's nothing in the Constitution that says you're only allowed to have 9 judges on the Supreme Court. So
right. So then we have to flip the Senate.
and get the
Um
presidency.
this way we can do things like that. Yeah, I
Yes.
dig it. I dig it.
But they're leaving us with no choice. I mean, it's
Hey,
completely hypocritical considering
well,
when
of
Obama
course.
wanted to
Oh
appoint,
yeah, I remember. I
I mean,
remember.
so what
Yeah,
they're not leaving us an alternative. So
yeah. I recall. I mean, there's a lot of things that went into that though, because um we didn't. If I think if we had all the the houses and we probably would have done it too. You know what I'm saying? Like I think we're no, I'm gonna appoint somebody. If we could have done it, we would have done it. I mean, it's real talk. We would have done it, but um,
well,
I
and
don't know.
the thing about Merrick Garland was he wasn't even like a super liberal. He was
Yeah,
somebody very middle of the road. He made a very strategic pick so that the Republicans wouldn't push back and wouldn't
right.
say, no, we're not gonna, agree to swear him in. And they still, it's
Yeah,
like no compromise on their side.
yeah.
You
No,
know?
that's the major problem in our country overall. That we just people don't want to compromise. I have a lot of people from the right on my social media on both major platforms and stuff, and people often ask like, Angel, if I should associate with you because I don't know where your heart is at. I said, what are you talking about? Like, I don't understand. You know what I write and say, yeah, but you're still friends with that guy who's a right winger. So what? So what? I'm not going to cut off every person who's a
Yeah.
right winger because, like it just doesn't make sense to me.
It
You
needs to be
first,
well-rounded.
yeah. How are you going to know what's going on in the world if you only surround yourself with like-minded people?
Absolutely.
How will you ever, how will you ever grow? How will you ever change? How will you ever evolve? You
Mhm.
know, I mean, it just doesn't work.
I do, as I cringe, I watch some Hannity because I
Of
want to know what the other side is saying.
course,
I need to hear that. So yeah, it's
you have
important.
to, you have to educate yourself. You have to know. I mean, I was in the right for a while, right? If I wasn't friends with a lot of leftists, and maybe that thing that clicked in my head that says, "Whoa, I can't associate with this political party," would have never happened.
Hmm.
I would have stayed over there. You know,
Yeah.
um, although they did a pretty bang up job of making me want to leave anyway. The biggest thing with them, one of the reason I went over there was because I wanted to keep my guns, right?
Hmm.
So I wanted to protect my gun rights. So that's why I went and started supporting the right. But then on social issues, I was at odds with them on everything. Everything. I'd be in a car. I don't know if you ever come across a guy named Wayne Dupree. He's a prominent right wing blogger. He's like, you know, Trump needs a black guy to talk to make him look like he's not he calls Wayne. Like that's so me and my buddy Wayne were going to West Virginia, and on the ride down we were talking about immigration.
Hmm.
And I was telling him, we need to help these people, blah blah blah. And he's like, send them all back. We gotta send them all back. So our views were at odds in that. And then I start going to the rallies. I'm attending these events, and I'm sitting there and I'm listening, and I'm like, you know, except for the guns,
I
I
don't
don't
agree
agree with
with
the
this.
guy. I don't agree with these guys on anything. What the hell am I doing here? Like, and I went independent for a while because, as I mentioned in the very beginning, I don't believe that any of the parties has our real best interest. It's always their own best interest.
Yeah.
I've never believed in. I don't believe that the Democrats in Congress and those people care about us and really want to. With the exception of a few, and things are changing. I believe. I have to believe AOC is for real.
Yeah.
right? Regardless of whether or not you agree with her views or you agree with her politics or whatever the case is, I
She's
have to believe
sincere.
like it's coming from a place of like reality on her own. She went and did this thing against the powerful Crowley, and so I believe her. I believe her. I still think she's pure, right? Now,
Yeah.
ask me 10 years from now, 15 years from now, who knows? Who
Yeah.
knows? You know. So I went independent, but then I couldn't vote in primaries. I couldn't vote. I couldn't vote in any of the primaries here in New York. So I had to pick a party. So I joined the Democratic Party, and just so that I can vote.
Yeah.
You know? So, and interestingly, even when I was in the Republican Party, I voted for Obama both times because I was a Republican only like for a year during like the transition of the second when he was going into his second, and I still voted for him. And I tell you, those guys did not like to hear that when 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 I was speaking at those rallies because I told them the truth.
Yeah.
Why'd you vote for Obama? Because where I come from, who I am, I'm a guy from the South Bronx, what you would call the ghetto. You know, I feel like not voting for him was betraying who I am. You know,
Yeah.
betraying where I come from, betraying my people, betraying that version of me who needs a little extra help to become the me of today. You
Yeah.
know, I mean, so I did both of them. But if you really sit down and study Obama and study not only Obama, any of them, Biden, they're not really, they didn't really do much for us. You know, I would love to see do more. And that's where an
Yeah.
AOC comes in, where someone, you know, who's really just doesn't care, doesn't
Yeah.
care,
Like,
doesn't
what do we
care.
have to lose? You
Yeah,
know?
what are you gonna do? I'm here. What are you gonna do? They're gonna still vote for me. What are you gonna do? You know. Whereas the other guys are like, well, you know what? We don't want to lose the Pepsi people. You know, those are some pretty big donors. You know. So,
Things are changing a little at a time. And incremental change is really what we need because we don't it's too difficult when everything gets changed
right.
immediately. But Congress itself, it needs
Well, a lot of those
powerful
people have been there
legislators.
forever. They're
Mhm.
there forever, and they are the the epitome of career politicians. That they are. I would love to see. I I don't know why anyone would oppose term limits. I don't know what not having term limits does for us. I don't know. I would like that you have to get out. You can't be there forever.
Yeah,
You know, it doesn't make sense to me. That is the perfect opportunity for corruption.
exactly.
You know, corruption and special interests. Like you said, the guy you're opposing hasn't been opposed. So what incentive does he have to do anything for anyone? Who's going to beat him? No
Ex-
one. No one's opposing him.
mhm.
So, you know, like I said, I would love for you to, you know, just pull the rug out from under them like you did with the in the primary. Oh, that would be awesome. I would get a kick out of that. I would get a kick out of that.
I would too.
Anything that you know you want to say in closing?
Obviously, I want to share how you can find me to
Of
support the
course.
campaign, whether you live in Texas or not in Texas. You know, the thing about this race is, yes, you know, I'm running in District 8, but Brady is powerful. He's on the Ways and Means Committee. He was the chair. And his policies really affect everyone. Obviously, just evidenced by the Tax Cuts and Job Act that he authored, you know, and got passed. So it's really important that we remove him from office. Um, our website is Liz for Texas 8. It's LIZFORTX, the number 8.com. All my socials are the same, Liz for Texas 8. You probably know that. Twitter is the same, Instagram is the same, Facebook's the same. We made them all the same so that people can easily find
Yeah.
us. So obviously we need donations. Brady with his, you know, special interest
Mhm.
donations has a lot of money. And we don't have as much as him. You know, we're true grassroots. So $5, $10, $100, whatever anybody can give, we will take it. We're using that money primarily for signs, printing, because we are literature dropping as much as we possibly can, trying to get my name out there. And I just want people to know, especially if they're from my district or even if they're not, that, I'm not in this for myself. I truly want better for our district. I want better for my kids. And I really do care. I have sympathy for those that struggle and just people that have a hard time and that need more help. And I feel really passionate about wealth inequality. We didn't talk too much about that, but I do want to get to office so that I can represent the people the best way I know how. And, regardless of me not being your career politician, I don't want to be a career politician. That's not my passion. We have, I didn't talk about this earlier, but we have the last time I checked, 9 accountants in the House and 2 in the Senate. That's 11 total. There's 435 House members, 9 accountants. I mean, you would think that they would have a little bit more people with accounting background, considering that, they're determining our budgets, where all the money's going, and they don't. When Trump went into office, we were $19 trillion in debt. Before Corona hit, we were $23 trillion in debt. We were operating on $1 trillion deficit per year, which is why it's gone from 19 to 23. Obviously, with Corona, we are now at 26 trillion. That's okay. That's debt that was, required, needed to support the people of this country. That's the kind of debt we should be going into when we go into debt. But, cutting taxes for the richest in the country and giving us $1 trillion deficit is not what our country needs. And that's why I'm running. One of my priorities when I make it to office is going to be reversing those tax cuts for the wealthy. You don't go into running a country or a business and say, hey, let's just slash our revenues. We'll figure it out. I mean, you just don't do that for no reason. Do our working class, they need, tax cuts. I mean, at the end of the day, this economy is driven by the people that make the purchases, not the business owners. You give a tax break to somebody that has a business, and I've done some calculations on them, and you give them, an extra $2,800 a month. That's pennies to them. They're not going to do anything with that. You give me $2,800.
Yeah,
I'm going to go.
Be nice.
So I just want people to know I sincerely want to represent them. I will work hard for this district. I don't give up, and I want people to reach out to me because, I can relate to the things I've gone through, when it comes to disabilities, when it comes to education, when it comes to healthcare. We didn't talk too much about healthcare, but I've had those $3,000 deductibles, and a parent should not ever have to wonder, how am I going to pay for this when my kid gets sick? If your kid gets sick, you should just be able to take them to the doctor. And, but there are a lot of other things I may not know about. I don't pretend to know everything, but I'm willing to learn and I'm willing to listen. So obviously, if you're in my district, I ask for your vote, and I will take any donations you can give. And thank you for your time, Angel, and thank you for reaching out to me and asking me to do this podcast with you.
It's been a pleasure. Met some of your family,
Yes.
Pets.
Would you like to meet my oldest daughter? She walked in. She's being shy. She's 15. Yeah. I don't know if I told you that. My oldest is 15.
Yeah, well, I wish you good luck. I wish you luck on the race. I would love to see another heavyweight get,
Well, when we knock him out of office, we can have another podcast.
Yeah, that'll be fun. I'd love to see that happen. That'll be, I think it'll be awesome. And at the same time, if we could flip the Senate and everything, that's
another thing we didn't really talk about. As hard as this race is, Brady specifically, at the end of the day, this is about Biden. I mean, he's like the most important, because we have to get Trump out of office. So whatever exposure I can bring or votes I can bring, those are going to help everybody up and down the ballot. So, maybe we don't win this race, maybe we do, but we're bringing more votes to the Democratic ticket at the end of the day. And that's what's truly important right now. So
Yeah. We've tilted too far this way, The country does this, but you want to, kind of.
Well, in the Republican Party, you were talking about how you were part of them. They're not the same anymore. It's the Tea Party now. I mean, that's in those Republican seats, which is why there's so much of the McConnells who are unwilling to compromise and who are super hypocritical,
Yeah, that was a dark period in my life, a time of confusion. It's actually embarrassing, when I think about it, and some of the stuff I've written, and I had come across an old episode where I was talking about Obama, and I was listening to the stuff, and I was like, damn, so I deleted all that stuff. I just went through deleting all that. I was like, I cannot, I don't feel that, like I don't feel that way, so I can't leave that up, but there's a lot of things that I've said and written over the years that I can't remove because they're on different platforms that belong to, other
there forever.
Yeah, I mean, I own it. I own it. I don't deny it.
That's
I
what's
always
important. I mean, you're not. People were entitled to change their opinions and their thoughts and their feelings. You're not. We're human.
It's evolving. It's evolved. So I own it. I had a real tough conversation with a friend a couple of days ago that was weighing on me for a couple of days because she was asking me like, how could you speak ill of Obama? How could you align with those people? And, and it was a heavy conversation, so, but you change, you evolve. And if someone's going to judge me or dismiss me because of that time or whatever, then I don't need them. If you're not able to say, well, look at the person today or whatever, it's not like I was back then trying to hurt people. I just wanted to keep my guns.
Yeah.
That's all I wanted. I wanted to just be able to keep my,
Well, that's good. Yeah. And in Texas State, they're saying the same thing. And I don't.
Well, you're smart about saying, speaking on that specifically, that you're not trying to take away the gun rights, because if you mention that at all, done.
Yeah.
It's a wrap, so you gotta skirt that line,
Well, you have a good evening.
Yeah, thank you so much for your time, and thank your family for letting you get on and talk and stuff. Well, this is their time, so I appreciate it. Best of luck.
Thanks. Bye-bye.
All right, take care.
You too.
You are listening to the NYC Talking podcast. www.nyctalking.com. Please like NYC Talking on Facebook. Please follow Angel R Talk on Twitter and Instagram. We are NYC Talking, the realest lifestyle blog ever. Thanks for listening.